Welcome to the next episode of the Brotein Bar. Today we are very happy to have Miflex with us. We will let him introduce himself to you guys first.
Hi, hello, Miflex. Nama saya Muhammad Suhaimi Alain, 30 years old. Experience dalam bodybuilding around 12 years. That's all.
When it comes to coaching, how long?
Around 3 years.
Yeah, so Miflex is his Instagram handle for those didn't realize. So we are happy to have him here to talk about the coaching scene and also the bodybuilding scene in Malaysia, because I think most of the time we get access to a lot of the foreign international content from the US, from the UK, Australia, and etc. But we don't really get much of the information, especially on how our bodybuilding scene is in Malaysia in terms of our cultural differences and in terms of how Malaysia is. We do have accessibility to certain things, certain knowledge, certain food ingredients that makes the bodybuilding scene a little bit more different, perhaps better, if we could argue, than the other countries as well. So wanted to have Miflex to talk about this bodybuilding scene in Malaysia so that we get a bit of an overview of how we can do this and approach bodybuilding in a different manner. Perhaps more effective also lah kan. How do you feel about the bodybuilding scene in Malaysia in general first?
Okay, kat Malaysia ni, kita punya bodybuilding scenes, mungkin problem dia dekat kita ada pelbagai kaum like Cina, India, Melayu. So, kat situ kalau macam mana nak cakap for me, as a coach nak prep athletes, diorang akan ada different cara makan, lifestyle. Kat Malaysia, famous dia perayaan terlalu banyak. So, a lot of cheat day and cheat meal from athlete.
Self-declare, sendiri makan.
Yeah, macam tu lah.
Yeah, so when it comes to the bodybuilding scene in general, how do you feel about the Malaysian bodybuilding scene in general dulu?
Maksudnya macam
Like, could it be better? Room to grow ke?
a lot of room to grow lah. Actually, Malaysia needs lots of exposure ataupun orang yang perlu kembangkan lagi bodybuilding dekat Malaysia ni. For me lah. Kena ramai lagi orang support, kena banyak lagi knowledge, kena banyak lagi exposure, macam saya cakap. Pendedahan lebih banyak lagi untuk kita punya bodybuilding scene. Sebab our bodybuilding sport in Malaysia, I think class C, not like a football, badminton, right? So, kita punya bodybuilding sangat rendah lagi. So, kalau nak baguskan lagi bodybuilding Malaysia, you kena banyak lagi support from
all areas kan?
Yes, from banyak lagi daripada government ke and everything lah.
So that's why we are also trying to do what we can to really improve and also do more of the exposure for the Malaysian bodybuilding scene. We always see on social media or internet, you see how the US do it, how the UK do it, how the Australia do it, European, how they do it. But in Malaysia, what makes our Malaysian bodybuilding scene a little bit different? What do you think? In terms of, for example, training, nutrition, how do we do bodybuilding differently compared to the other countries? Let's talk about training first lah.
Bagi I, training kalau dekat Malaysia, most our people train malam because our weather panas. So, a lot of gym in Indonesia also don't have aircon, outdoor punya tempat. So, a lot of people dekat sini prefer train malam because sejuk sikit. But then, depends on dorang punya time lah. So, most probably dorang akan train malam.
That's why every time the gym lepas 7 o'clock,
6 to
all the way, right? Yeah. But also, is it true that in Malaysia you have more gyms that open later at night?
Yeah, mostly tutup pukul 2 and then 24 hours. Pagi pun buka lambat gym, 8, 10 baru buka. Susah lah jumpa gym pukul 6 AM buka.
Yeah.
Most commercial gym 24 hours like Anytime Fitness.
Those are more convenient.
Yes.
But in terms of training style, what do you feel? Is there a difference?
Training style? Tak ada, because we look up from Western like US, UK. Video come from the fitness influencer. Training method almost the same because this spot from dorang. So, kita punya athlete tengok training program, training method semua daripada dorang. ada beza. But then I think Malaysian people atau Asian athlete lagi kuat dan power because dorang balance life, works and still train. So I rasa kita punya orang lagi far better from training.
I thought because we all makan nasi.
Makan nasi lemak also. Nasi, yes, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, we are already so used to nasi as cup sauce, and we actually have a lot of different type of cup sauce. So speaking of which, in terms of diet, also when we approach bodybuilding, for Malaysian we have the advantage because we have a lot of option kan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Option advantage daripada segi pemakanan. Carbohydrate kita lebih murah. Our rice is far low price than kira luar negara lah. Kita punya main source of makan adalah carbohydrate like nasi, bihun, like roti, more cheaper than dorang. But our protein is quite expensive, so you need to eat eggs, chicken breast only. If you
want to have access to beef and all that,
beef, salmon, crazy.
yeah, salmon is
Yeah.
expensive also. But the workaround is to eat eggs and
Eggs, chicken breast and rice.
So usually that's what you prep with also.
Yeah, it's convenient to us to eat lah because semua orang dekat sini eat chicken, rice and eggs, right?
Yeah, even chicken rice also you have Chinese chicken rice,
Malay chicken rice,
Indian chicken rice. Yeah. So we are quite accustomed to that.
Yeah, senang dimakan. Always can eat.
So when you come to coaching Malaysian athletes also, usually when it comes to diet also, not a lot of challenges.
Yeah, a big challenges because here we got 3 races, right? Malay, Chinese and Indian. Maybe Indian eat more on spices. Malay suka manis sikit, berminyak sikit. Then Chinese a lot of soup and everything. For me, if I coach them, I just cakap dengan orang, ikut you punya selera as long as you can follow the program and meal plan and calorie that I put on them.
So there's a level of flexibility.
Yeah.
The cultural.
Yes. If I design dorang punya diet, dorang tak boleh makan, dorang tak selesa, macam mana dorang nak dapat result? So end up dorang akan cheat lah, dorang akan macam mana tu nak cakap dorang can halfway through je cakap I cannot do this anymore because tak ikut dengan dorang punya selera makan kan.
Well, usually they will check with you lah. Like, lepas tu if I want to do this that is closer to my culture or closer to what I do. I think that also gives you a benefit when you are coaching people that is outside of our culture also kan. So kalau you have to coach foreign athletes also, this kind of flexibility around them to integrate lah.
Mostly I can follow around your flexibility lah. So senang bagi orang, easy to follow lah. No stress because this sport already stress. Stress from training, stress for cardio and everything. Takkan diet pun nak stress kan. So benda ni kita bagi balance.
Try to optimize every area.
We try to macam I always cakap dengan for my athlete, balance diet and then try jadikan as a lifestyle supaya you boleh consistent on your food intake. Kalau stress like macam makan macam orang caveman, like no taste, no salt, no spices, no sauce, susah bro. Cannot. And then because our Malaysia culture, a lot of good food right outside, so you dah terbiasa. So kalau you try buat makanan kosong like cut sugar, cut oil and everything,
too drastic.
Yes. End up you akan problem dekat you punya
adherence ke following Okay.
You cannot cope dekat you punya diet plan and then you akan stuck, then you give up. For me lah. So that's why I bagi diet untuk all my athlete, balance and suit dekat you punya selera makan. Okay.
I suppose when it comes to prepping as in Malaysia punya athletes, memang food is the biggest question because we have so many options and our food is so bloody good. So so that definitely this is that approach that potentially can help to navigate this lah. Okay. Then in terms of supplement, do you see any differences or not?
Okay, supplement in Malaysia like a vitamin, fish oil, yeah, it's quite expensive in Malaysia because we less source of vitamin.
Yeah.
So basically, I ask my athlete go to solid food first. Eat your veggies, your fruits, and eat the solid food lah. Supplement, you need to spend food and then supplement. A lot of money to spend, right?
When it comes to fruits and veggie for vitamins and minerals and all that, we all have access to tropical fruits, right? So usually what you will get your athletes to eat to balance out the minerals, vitamins.
Like basics, fruits like green apple, pineapple, watermelon. Now, advanced vanilla fruit, blueberry like mahal lah.
But still in that one imported lah.
Tapi kalau basic fruit, basic dekat Malaysia yang memang buah kat Malaysia, you just eat grape, anggur like temikai and pineapple and green apple. Okay, cukup sudah.
Usually you can cover the bases.
Yeah. And then eat lots of veggies lah. Kita veggie bagus kan. So sini murah lah, fruits and veggies.
Yeah, you can spend more.
Yeah, you can spend more. You can eat more. Eat green more.
And also lower calories, okay.
Yeah.
But what are the staples? Let's say if you can look into supplement, what is the must-have for you?
For me, like a vitamin, for me, the basic stuff is fish oil, like a fish oil, vitamin C, multivitamin, zinc and magnesium. Depends on your budget. The 4 to 5 items is very important for your bodybuilding.
The overall bodybuilding journey lah.
Yes.
Okay.
In terms of like a supplement like whey protein, glutamine, also you can
look into lah.
Yeah. Glutamine, creatine, that's a basic. But for me, I think go for solid food better. Much better.
Kalau the whole thing is in place, then usually you don't need all these supplements.
Yeah.
Those are optional.
Yeah.
Kalau boleh.
Tak sempat makan ataupun tak cukup nutrition atau cukup vitamin, you can get it lah. Kalau you can spend on your solid food, just eat solid food. For me,
but usually in Malaysia, do you meet a lot of people who tak sempat makan or cannot eat that much? No, right? Do you?
Depends on that person lah. Macam diorang punya schedule, daily schedule lah. Ada orang memang cakap, I tak sempat makan. Macam one of my client cakap, hari ni tak sempat breakfast. Hari ni tak sempat lagi lunch.
Do you think it's because of the work culture in Malaysia?
Work culture, travel time,
in the jam
and everything, maybe.
Or memang it's a real problem that you hear.
Yeah.
Or see.
And then maybe a few of my clients is lazy to prep their meal. That one also lah. But we have accessibility like a chicken rice outside.
Do you recommend that as a way out?
Emergency can lah, but not
all the time.
Not all the time lah.
So what is your emergency list?
Emergency list like chicken rice, steamed chicken rice. Maybe dekat mall you can find Subway and Nando's, but that's expensive bit lah.
Yeah, but emergency lah. Don't do it all the
don't do it all the time lah. Emergency lah.
Okay. At least those can help you through very, very difficult or very busy time.
Yeah.
All that lah. Okay.
Malaysian last time kurang meal prep from ada orang provide meal prep lah.
Meal prep.
Yes. Nowadays baru nampak.
But still very expensive.
Yeah, that's why I ask them, better you go groceries, bawa balik rumah masak kan, it's cheaper kan. But then dorang lazy, maybe tak ada masa nak prep dorang punya meal. But I selalu cakap dengan all my client and athlete, you buat benda ni nanti you akan more disciplined and consistent. And then you can learn from your food, what food makes you
works for you,
what works for you, and then not works for you. Sometimes like a few of my athletes have a gastric problem, bloated problem, tak boleh minum susu lah every year.
Lactose.
So faham food intake suit to your body.
Because every body is different.
Yeah. Tak semestinya I bagi meal plan, you akan follow bla-bla. Tak, you sendiri yang adjust, yang suit dengan you. Macam tu lah.
Okay. Then next, also, how does the gear usage in Malaysia compare to other places? Do you know? Or based on your experience?
Based on my experience.
What do you hear? What is your own experience?
Based on my experience from my previous coach and orang yang ajar I, memang I guna less gear, basic stuff like for bulking is like kita selalu dengar SAS, TKD ball, something like that. And then bila cutting is Winstrol, Stano, Klein and Masteron. So all my athlete and my client, I guna basic stuff only. Tak ada advance like nowadays is Superbolin, Myostatin, like wow apa ni. So kita orang pun tak ada ilmu, knowledge and exposure about.
Was it because of the exposure, do you say?
Maybe because of exposure. And then this gear is quite macam mana,
Expensive? Or
no, not expensive, like
not accessible or how?
dia pakai dekat you punya badan. So kalau you tak tahu that kind of thing yang works dekat you badan, macam mana you nak bagi dekat orang pakai. So for me as a coach, I become a lab first. Yes, I test the product first, see how it goes, macam mana dia jadi respon dekat you punya badan, baru I cakap okay, you try pakai this one.
But do you think it's because of that, it's because of accessibility, for example, of knowledge or the gear also, that the coaches or the athletes don't have the chance to experiment also before they know what works, or before the industry know how to, or there are better option compared to the one that we are already using most of the time?
Macam you cakap lah, macam I rasa exposure kurang kot, knowledge kurang. So benda ni is quite dangerous, and then orang punya badan different respond with this gear. So Malaysian culture punya bodybuilder, diorang akan pakai the same thing, is easier, and then selamat.
They know that it works also.
Kalau you try to do take advanced gear, you don't know the Rico and everything lah. For me lah. And then bagi I, and then one more thing for me, for my experience, you tak tahu pun yang you pakai 3 to 4 gears, mana suit dengan you, mana lagi give a result to you.
Best result.
For me, better you use less, and then you get result daripada you use 5 to 6 gear on the same time, but you don't know one
is the one happening.
Yes. For me lah, that's my
experience,
my approach. For my athlete also, kalau bulking, 2 item, 1 injection, 1 oral. Sometimes 2 injection, 1 oral. For cutting is 1 injection, 1 oral. That's max lah, because badan kita nak pakai lama juga.
Of course, true, understand.
So bagi selamat, better lah.
But compared to the things you hear from what other people are doing in the Malaysia bodybuilding scene?
My experience, kalau coaching physique is quite less gear, but bodybuilding, wow.
Really?
Yeah, sometimes it's a very mind-blowing punya cycle lah. Gear banyak, ada juga. Ada orang pakai sikit, ada orang pakai sangat banyak. Depends on the coaches lah. Tapi I pernah tengok, memang ada for prepping gear 6 to 7 item sekali cycle. Banyak lah bro. Macam mana you nak tahu yang 6 to 7 gear tu bagi you result?
Kan? And also very expensive kan. Wow, the amount of investment there.
Banyak.
But do you think it's because some of these athletes, right, they follow different coaches from other countries, then they have different style? Like for example, maybe one follow US, then US had to be more, then that's why banyak.
I heard from US, maybe quite a lot. And then nowadays, our athlete look up from the Japan, China, and Korean punya coach. This kind of coach, maybe a bit less from US, but still high, quite high. Because here in Malaysia, because we are less exposure, so we pakai basic stuff lah.
As long as it works lah.
As long as it works lah. And then we know from the turun-temurun punya, macam mana cakap, you pakai this one, you pakai this one. So memang semua orang apply that kind of gear in Malaysia. So advance ni I tak sure lah.
Do you think because of all that, now that we know in terms of training, supplement, food, nutrition, because of all this lack of exposure or accessibility to knowledge, is it holding the industry back? Do you feel so?
Yeah, I think for newcomer, yes, dia akan ada masalah sikit because you lack of exposure, lack of knowledge, lack of experience, lack of believing coach. Macam sometimes ada orang newcomer dia jalan sendiri. That's mean you prepping his sendiri. Yeah, memang akan ada sikit effect for bodybuilding and then advanced technology and something like that lah. I think memang ada masalah sikit lah.
But what do you think the industry should do in order to move forward?
Exposure more, a lot of knowledge, doing a lot of boot camp or everything lah. And then macam mana cakap our government maybe need to do something to hide up the bodybuilding punya dekat Malaysia lah. For me lah. Maybe boleh try bagi lagi banyak pro show dekat Malaysia, so our athlete can join, then
have a chance to go further.
Yeah, boleh tengok, boleh experience that show.
More of the opportunity
Yeah,
you're talking about.
Yeah, opportunity lagi banyak.
Attend ke, join ke.
Okay. More classes ke, more nutrition class, more boot camp or everything can help our bodybuilding industry go up lah. Something like that lah.
Okay.
Opportunity lah macam you cakap. Opportunity lagi banyak, lagi boleh bantu kita punya bodybuilding industry naik. Kalau tak ada pendedahan kan, macam mana nak orang ni boleh know
right, what's out there. Okay.
Yeah, because last time Malaysian is better from Indonesia because our athlete going Olympia first and then we have a lot of pro from Malaysia, but nowadays Indonesia catch up.
Yeah,
they
surpass us
just for 1 year.
Yeah,
so very fast dorang catch up and grow up kan. That's we need to learn lah. Malaysia kena have a lot of opportunity untuk grow up our bodybuilding.
For the personal level, in terms of the athlete, Malaysian athlete, what can they do to go further?
For myself, I also a competitor.
Yeah,
we need to exposure more and then learn and hire a new coach or
try to learn as much as possible.
Yeah, learn as much as possible and then you need to go show by show to macam mana to showcase your physique and then you know what is your lacking, what is your problem from the judge, something like that lah. Opportunity lah.
Okay.
Bagi I lah, I tak tahu lah orang lain punya opinion. Like for me, athlete Malaysian nak grow up, you need to hire coach, need a lot of knowledge and then pergi bodybuilding show, pro show. I mean, depends which federation, but you need have of exposure. So you tahu macam mana
what they're looking for.
Yeah, what they're looking for, what kind of physique at your on stage. So you can open up your eyes. Oh, like this standard.
So in general, need to learn more experience so that they know how to find a way that works for them to go to that direction they want.
Yeah.
Okay. That's about it for this particular segment where we talked about the bodybuilding scene in Malaysia. I think it's very interesting that to know that actually we do have certain advantage. Like for example, our meal prep is technically cheaper in Malaysia.
Yeah.
So there's no reason for us to not do it or do better than other people also, who knows, right? A very good thank you for Reflex to be on the show today. We are very, very hoping that Malaysia in the bodybuilding scene really can take it to the next level. So together, as we continue to work on it, hopefully we get to learn more and experience more, then we will be able to move forward together also lah.
Nak tambah sikit, for me, Malaysia is lacking is exposure and knowledge and pro show. Itu bagi I yang kurang lah. For our advantage is our food is quite more cheaper than others, right? Makanan ni you boleh pilih lagi murah untuk bodybuilding. From protein, we have tempeh like a tofu, more cheaper. And then our carbohydrate source is like rice and bread is more cheaper. So macam tak ada alasan kat situ kalau makanan. For me lah, we do have option cheaper. You tak perlu pun nak macam ikut westernish sangat kan.
Fancy.
Yeah, fancy. Yeah, sometimes can to
make yourself feel better.
rasa nak macam betul-betul bodybuilder. But then
You do have options.
option. Okay.
Yeah. So thank you so much. So stay tuned to the next episode of the Brotein Bar.
Protein bar.